Hey, how's it going? Have you ever heard about autism? Or maybe you know someone who's autistic and want to understand better how it works. Today, we're going to dive deep into this topic, talk about what autism is, how it influences people's lives, clear up some misconceptions, and most importantly, understand how we can make the world a better place for those on the spectrum. This video will give you valuable information that might change the way you see autism. Stick with us until the end. I'm sure you'll learn a lot and be surprised. What is autism? So, let's start by asking, what exactly is autism? Like we mentioned earlier, autism, or autism spectrum disorder, ASD, is a spectrum. This means that there are many different ways to be autistic. There isn't just one single way of being autistic, and that's super important to understand right from the start. Every autistic person has their own unique traits, their own needs, and, of course, their own talents. Some autistic people might have difficulties with verbal communication. This means they might take longer to talk or maybe prefer to communicate in other ways, like through gestures or writing. Others might speak really well but struggle with what we call social communication, meaning they might have trouble picking up on things like facial expressions, gestures, or tone of voice. For example, it might be hard for them to tell if someone is joking or being serious. Also, autism can affect how a person experiences their senses. Some autistic people are very sensitive to bright lights, loud noises, or even the feel of certain textures. For them, these things can be uncomfortable or even painful. But again, it varies a lot. Some people might be less sensitive and actually seek out sensory experiences in different ways. They might, for example, love playing with certain textures or enjoy looking at lights. But autism isn't just about challenges. Many autistic people have amazing talents in areas like math, music, art, or even noticing details that others might miss. It's like they can focus intensely on certain things, which allows them to really excel in those areas. How does autism influence life? Now that we understand what autism is, how does it affect people's lives? Well, that depends on the person, but let's start by talking about childhood. When a child is autistic, it can show up in lots of different ways. Some children might not respond when their name is called, may not make eye contact as often, or prefer to play by themselves. They might also have very intense interests in specific topics or objects. For example, a child might be totally fascinated by dinosaurs and want to know everything about them, or they might spend hours arranging toys in a certain order. These differences can be noticed early on, but every child is different. Some might be diagnosed very young, while others may not find out they're autistic until they're teens or even adults. When these children go to school, they can face some challenges. Often, school environments aren't set up to meet the needs of autistic children. A simple thing like the noise of many students in the classroom can be something that distracts or bothers an autistic child. Recess, which is a fun time for many, can be stressful for a child who struggles with being around too many people at once. But with the right support, these children can thrive. When teachers and classmates understand what autism is and know how to adjust the environment and offer the right support, an autistic child can develop their skills and reach their full potential. They might need more time to understand certain things or a quieter place to focus, but that doesn't mean they can't learn and excel. Now, let's talk about how autism can affect adulthood. For many autistic people, transitioning to adult life can be challenging. Finding a job, handling responsibilities, or even socializing in a work environment can be tricky. Some autistic people may prefer to work alone or in quieter environments, away from sensory stimuli that might bother them. Others may be great at solving complex problems or doing tasks that require a lot of attention to detail. Unfortunately, we still live in a society that doesn't always understand or embrace these differences. Many autistic people face prejudice or lack opportunities simply because they don't fit into the traditional mold of how people are supposed to act or be. This needs to change, and part of that change comes from understanding autism better. It's important to know that autistic people can be extremely valuable in the workplace. Companies that promote inclusion and recognize the value of diversity are starting to see that autistic people bring unique skills and perspectives to their teams. Attention to detail, dedication, and the ability to see solutions that others might not are just some of the qualities that many autistic individuals have to offer. But more than just in the workplace, inclusion should happen in all aspects of life. Autistic people also have the right to live fully, to make friends, to fall in love, to participate in social events, all while respecting their limits and needs. Sometimes, it's just a matter of adjusting the environment or being more patient to create a welcoming space. Myths about autism. Now, let's talk about something really important, the myths about autism. A lot of people still believe in misconceptions that, unfortunately, lead to autistic people being misunderstood or even discriminated against. One of the most common myths is that autistic people don't have feelings or can't connect with others. That is completely false. Autistic people absolutely feel emotions. They can feel sad, happy, frustrated, loved, just like anyone else. What might be different is how they show or understand these feelings. Some may find it harder to express emotions or understand others' emotions, but that doesn't mean they don't feel them. Another myth is that all autistic people are the same. As we've mentioned before, that doesn't make any sense. Every autistic person is unique, with their own traits, abilities, and challenges. The spectrum is very wide, and experiences within it vary greatly. And finally, there's the myth that autism is a disease that needs to be cured. This is simply not true. Autism is not a disease, it's a neurological condition. Autistic people don't need to be fixed or changed, they need support, respect, and acceptance to live their lives as fully as possible. How can we better support autistic people? Now that we've busted some myths, it's time to talk about what we can do to better support autistic people. And the good news is that, most of the time, it's the simple things that can make a big difference. First, we need to educate ourselves and others about what autism is. When we understand autism better, it becomes easier to know how to act in an inclusive way. This can start at home, in school, at work, anywhere. Another super important thing is empathy. Everyone is different, and that's okay. Autistic people have their own ways of living and expressing themselves, and our role is to respect that. If an autistic person doesn't like hugs, for example, that's fine. We can find other ways to show care and respect, like simply asking how they prefer to be treated. We can also help make environments more accessible. It could be as simple as offering a quieter space for someone who's bothered by noise or allowing an autistic child more time to complete a task at school. These small adjustments can make a huge difference. And, of course, we need to keep talking about autism. The more we share accurate information and clear up misunderstandings, the more inclusive society becomes. And inclusion benefits everyone, because when we embrace differences, the world becomes a more just and diverse place. So, what can we take away from all of this? Autism isn't a problem, it's just part of human diversity. Autistic people have so much to teach us, and it's up to us to create a more welcoming and inclusive world where every person, with their unique traits, can grow and be happy. If you liked this video and want to keep learning with us, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're always bringing content that makes us think and grow. Thanks for watching all the way through, and remember, together, we can make a difference by respecting and celebrating differences. See you in the next video.